Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'll be taking you through my workstation makeover.
My very first YouTube video was building my current setup. It used simple techniques and was made to work with the cheap desk I had at the time. Its design goal was to create a frame to attach the monitor and speakers, leaving the desk free from clutter. Other features such as a drawer was made using cardboard scraps and a shoebox lid, showing the extreme budget I was on. The main issue I had with the desk was that it was fixed in height. That meant that when my arms were in a comfortable work position, my feet would be dangling off the floor, which was why I needed to include a footrest on the original frame.
To eliminate this issue, I've always wanted a sit-stand desk. And with the help of FlexiSpot, today we're finally getting it.
First things first, we need to get some supplies like the tabletop and timber. I wanted to build a larger setup, so I had to rent a van to carry the pieces home. We then start by cutting the timber into length for the C-frame. The wood pieces were arranged to form a stable surface for the router. Half-lap joints were cut to connect the frame pieces together. Mounting holes were drilled into the bottom pieces now, as it would be much harder once the pieces are glued together. I then tapered the top pieces that will hold the shelf using a chisel. I accidentally sliced my finger while using the chisels. Please let this be a reminder to be very careful when using sharp tools and treat them with the respect they deserve. Slots are then cut into the frame to attach a cross brace later. The slots were first cut using a circular saw and then finished using a chisel. Once all the cutting and drilling was done, the pieces were glued together. A couple of brad nails were used to clamp them while they dry. Once dried, filler was applied to the joints to give a smooth surface. Filler was also used in a spot where there was accidental damage from the routing process. The center brace was cut to match the table length and secured onto the C-frames using screws and glue. For the speakers, I first traced the corners on the piece of wood. This should create a seamless look for the shelves. A small chamfer was also added to the undersides of the speaker shelves. Don't forget to brush out accumulated wood in your files regularly for optimum efficiency. The speaker shelves will be glued using a dado joint. I also wanted to integrate my USB-C hub into one of the shelves. The Enolex CNC was used to mill out a cavity for the USB hub. The shelf pieces can then be glued together. To match the theme, I painted them with 2 coats of white primer. This was followed by a final coat of spray paint to even out the color. The rest of the visible frame was also painted white to match. Openings were cut on the backboard for the speaker shelves and monitor cables. The edges of the backboard was also painted white. The backboard was then stapled onto the frame. Moving on to the table legs. FlexiSpot kindly sponsored this video by providing their E7 premium standing desk for this project. Their E7 frame is rated for 160 kilos, which will easily support the weight of the project. The underframe was first assembled and adjusted to suit my chosen desk length of 1.4 meters. I made sure to allow space for the C frames and then marked and pre-drilled the mounting holes for the E7 frame. I then brought the tabletop outside to be able to position the C-frame on it. This was followed by marking and pre-drilling the mounting holes for my C-frame. Then, it's time to clear out my studio and say goodbye to my current setup. The table was then brought into the studio for final assembly as it would not have fit through the door. After installing the E7 underframe, the electric legs are attached, followed by their leg feet. This was also a good time to mount the touch controller and tidy up the cables into the included channel. It was then a team effort to flip the large desk over. The C-frame was held in place by clamps while I screwed them in from under. My assistant was eager to try the lifting feature of the desk, and I think she was rather happy with it. I was impressed by the stability of the desk as she hopped off the front as it barely even wobbled. A simple wall mount monitor arm was used to allow flexible adjustment. This was bolted directly to the cross brace using M8s and large washers to spread the load. Small tabs of plywood were nailed along the cross brace to act as cable tidy points. I wanted to add acoustic foam along the backboard to improve the quality of my voiceovers as well as make the project look a bit better. Cutouts in the foam for the monitor arm and speaker shelves were done using a sharp kitchen knife. The speaker shelves were put through the openings and screwed directly onto the cross brace. For the USB hub, I wanted to paint it white to match the rest of the build. I covered the unused HDMI port with blue tack, and the rest of the ports were also covered using some blue tack and 3D printed pieces. Don't forget to give it a sand and clean with mineral spirits before painting. Cables can then be connected and passed through the back of the frame. I then printed a wireless charging bracket for the other speaker shelf. Look how the speaker blends in with the shelf to create that floating look. I just love it. Remember the small drawer I had on my old desk? I really liked it to keep the essentials I use most often, so I'll be recreating it for this desk. First, I used my xTool D1 Pro 20W laser to cut the drawer panels from 3mm plywood. I then used my Enolex CNC to carve a groove along the 6mm front panel. These pieces were glued together while using masking tape to hold them in place. For the drawer slides, I opted to make simple wood versions rather than use metal roller types which are typically bulkier. If you would like to recreate this project yourself, I have made the 3D files available on my Etsy link below. Your purchase will really support my channel and allow me to make more of these videos for you. A wax candle is rubbed along the friction surface to provide a smoother action. Before I attached the drawer housing, I screwed in a small block near the front of the desk. To insert the drawer, the block is rotated straight, which allows the slot in the back of the drawer to slide past. After passing the block, it is then rotated sideways, which then prevents the drawer from being pulled out accidentally. Okay, let's put a top shelf on this frame. A melamine particle board was trimmed to width. The leftover was used as a backstop, preventing stuff from falling behind the shelf. A channel was then carved for an LED strip along the underside of the shelf. A smaller channel was also added to allow the LED wiring to be directed backwards. Some iron-on melamine tape was added to the exposed edge of the particle board. I first gently go over the strip with an iron before fully pressing it using a wooden block. Excess tape was trimmed flush using a chisel. The backstop can now be screwed in. The LED diffuser strip came with a string within to pull the LED through. A little dish soap was rubbed along the LED to make the pulling easier as well. A little notch was cut at the end of the diffuser to allow the 90-degree bend of the wires. The strip is then pressed into the groove made earlier. Here's me wiring up the LED because I didn't do it before pressing it into the shelf. Would not recommend. After the barrel connector was added, a thin melamine strip is glued over the wires to conceal them. The shelf can now be attached on the top of the C-frame. Rather than just having a simple on-off switch, I wanted the LEDs to be dimmable. So I followed this video and made my own voltage control box. The controller accepts a 12-volt input, which can then be adjusted to dim the LED strip. The dimmer was installed next to the touch controller for easy access. To mount the mic arm, I could not use the provided clamp as it would be too far away from the center of the desk. So I drilled an additional mounting hole in the desk to mount the arm instead. Now for the monitor. I had my eyes on the ASUS ProArt PA348CGV for a while now. Each individual monitor even comes certified by Kalman with its own report to assure its performance. I was particularly interested in its color accuracy, which is crucial as I get more into content creation. I compared the ProArt monitor to my existing one and was immediately impressed by the vibrant colors achieved by the IPS panel on the ProArt. My old monitor uses a 100Hz VA panel which looked rather dull next to the 120Hz IPS panel of the ProArt. I also really like that the monitor controller is a joystick on the front rather than little bumps along the back. The 120Hz refresh rate and 2 millisecond response time also makes it great for gaming. Before attaching to the arm, I needed to transfer the reactive backlights from my old monitor onto the new one. These lights have served me well at creating a nice ambience during late night sessions. After the lights were attached, the arm mounting plate follows. Required cables will first pass through the opening in the center, then the monitor can be clipped on. A large power strip was also attached under the desk to supply all the equipment. A white set of drawers will replace the previous cube storage as a stand for my computer. The cables connecting to the PC were all grouped together to form a tether. After connection, I lifted the desk to its maximum height to ensure the cables were all long enough and it was not going to drag my PC up with it. I also took the opportunity to do some additional cable management. Now, I can properly welcome you all to my new setup. It is such a luxury to be able to switch between sitting and standing, particularly for longer work sessions. The pre-programmable positions make switching between modes just a single tap away. The E7 Premium Standing Desk really lives up to its name as it's very stable even at standing height. The strength of the lift is amazing as well. Even with all the parts I've added, it is able to comfortably lift me along with it. If you would like to find out more, head over to FlexiSpot's website. They are currently having an amazing anniversary sale which you shouldn't miss out. FlexiSpot provides all kinds of standing desks to meet your demands. If you prefer a rock-solid stability standing desk, then the E7 Plus is your top choice. If you want a premium standing desk for daily use, you can check out their E7 or E7 Pro. If you're on a limited budget, you can choose their E5 model. Unlock more savings by using the exclusive promo code provided in the description.
After this makeover, I'm almost tempted to do an all-white PC. What do you guys think? Would you be interested in something like that? Let me know down in the comments below. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel so you didn't miss my future content, and thanks again for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.